My name is Lindsay, I'm single, and I've never dated anybody, so obviously that makes me a great candidate to talk about the truth about dating. I, Lindsay Frederick, promise to tell the truth, the full truth, and nothing but the truth. Do-do-do. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about myself. Obviously, with truth, there comes vulnerability, and I want to be vulnerable with you guys and share some of my story so that you can kind of see where I'm coming from on this and how my experiences have led me to discover this truth. I did have a relationship that was about 3 years long, just off and on, and within that relationship, I would say we were like dating, but not, it was like without labels essentially is what we were. So I have been there, I have experienced for the most part like dating, and so I just want to kind of talk about what I've learned through that process and share with you guys the truth that I've discovered about dating. So let's get into it. What is dating? So I think we can all agree that dating is this process that we go through ultimately in hopes of finding the forever person, and ultimately then that means love. We date in order to find love, right? Love in itself is a whole nother subject, so we did do a topic on that, and love, as we talk about in that Truth About Love video, is not meant to be broken. It's supposed to be forever. And love is a serious thing. And I think that is something that we do take seriously is love. And so if we take love seriously, shouldn't we take the process that leads to love seriously? And this is kind of what we're going to talk about today. Is I think our culture nowadays, we've devalued the process of dating, and it's become centered around instant gratification rather than true commitment, true selflessness, and ultimately love. It's not centered around finding someone forever. And I think a good testament to this would be the idea, this new thing within our culture of like not labeling things. And like I just said, I've been in a relationship like that, so I know from experience what that's like and what the intentions are going into it, what fears and like why that people might do that. We are willing to commit to all the good parts of the relationship, but we don't want like the seriousness and the pressure that a dating relationship brings. We don't want to commit to the love. We just want to take the good parts from it. And that then shows that we are entering into those types of relationships very selfishly. If we're entering into these relationships selfishly, that's not leading to love, because love at its core is selfless. So the question I want to ask you is, why are you entering into dating relationships? Is it based on selfish desires to be fulfilled in ways such as to feel happy, to feel pretty, to feel worthy, to feel like you are enough, to be supported, to gain status, to gain money? What are your reasons to enter into a relationship? God doesn't give a layout in this thing to like how to date, but I think it's very obvious from the way that he discusses his care for the well-being of our heart to see that he doesn't want us to experience this broken love and this heartache. We have to be cautious about who we're giving the authority in our lives to love us, because ultimately when we enter into relationship with another person, we're saying, hey, I give you the position in my life to either love me or to hurt me. And that is a big thing to hand over to someone. What does it look like to take dating seriously? Well, it looks like entering into a relationship with forever in mind. That's actually doing it responsibly as well. It's like, if you can't see that person being your forever mate or whatever, then what's the point? You're just setting yourself up for failure and heartbreak. And I've experienced this with the relationship I was talking about earlier. This is the idea that ultimately led me to be in the position that I am today, is that when I was in that relationship, consistently it would just cross my mind of like, what's the point? I'm just setting myself up for pain, because I couldn't see this person as my husband. And that was just the honest truth. But yet I was so focused on how I was feeling. It was like, oh, it feels good to be with him. I like the attention I get. He supports me. He makes me happy. And I actually wrote a song about it during this time. It's called Temporary Love. And I just want to read one of the lines to you. It goes, "It's a temporary love, and we both know how it will end. A temporary love, should I even let it begin? 'Cause I can only see myself getting hurt by you. Is it worth all the pain just to have one moment like this with you?" So I'm quoting myself, and I think that's kind of funny. But I think that's a real honest way to see the mindset that I was in, and I want you guys to kind of consider that. Those moments with that person that feel good and that temporary pleasure, is it worth the pain that's going to come when that relationship ultimately ends? And I would say from experience, no. The pain that I experienced from that relationship breaking off was what led me to set my standards to, okay, I'm dating for forever. If I don't see potential in a person to be my husband, like, I don't even want to go there because I'll just get hurt again. And I don't want to get hurt again. I think that's pretty practical. Like, okay, how can I avoid myself from ever being in this situation again? I don't date anybody that I don't see being my husband. Proverbs 4:23 says, guard your heart above all else, for all things flow from it. And I just don't want people experiencing this heartbreak, because from there, you know, it just makes so many things in life harder. It makes it harder to love others, to trust others, and to be ourselves, because we're fearful of being broken again. And so there's so many reasons why we should take dating seriously, but ultimately it is because we want to steward love well, and we want to protect ourselves so that we can love each other to our fullest potential. For me, I understand that God is the only source of unconditional, unfailing love and my source of identity. So that is actually what this tattoo stands for on my ring finger. I'm first committed to God before anyone else. And this is what we're gonna talk about even more. Identity. Are we secure enough in who we are, or do we need someone else to be that affirmation of love and affection? Do we know who we are without someone else telling us? Are we secure enough in ourselves to be entering into a relationship with another person? Because if not, we are going to start depending on that person for love, affirmation, self-worth. And that is just an unfair thing to put onto another person, because as a human, I wouldn't want my husband or my boyfriend expecting that from me, because I was like, I can't be a perfect human and I can't love him perfectly the way he's desiring to be loved. And so as individuals entering into relationship, we need to ensure that we are secure in our identity, who we are, and know that we are loved. Where do we find that unconditional love? And we talk about this in the Truth About Love video, and that is with God. God is our ultimate source of love, you know? He's the only place that we will find unconditional, unfailing love and identity. Y'all, who else should we look to besides the one who created us to see what we were created for? As I was doing research about identity, it shows that the most important ages to develop identity is between 12 and 18. This is the point in our life where we kind of gain more independence and we start to discover who we are without our parents, you know, telling us how to behave and stuff like that. You know, we have that freedom. This is also the age where we usually see that we start dating people, you know? So if we are dating someone during this time of just developing who we are, then we're gonna end up teaching yourself to be dependent on another person for love, affection, support, self-worth, all that jazz. And then suddenly, if that relationship breaks off, what is your worth without that person? What is your worth without another person telling you that? We don't establish that foundation of knowing who we are without another person present. And that's a very dangerous place to be. Furthermore, at that stage in your life, if you don't even know who you are yet, you're developing that, you're not really gonna know what you're gonna do with your life. You don't know the long term. So you're less likely to be able to consider forever with a person, then you really are setting yourself up for pain. And so if you're around this age and you're dating, I would say just like be so cautious. Really take the time to develop who you are as an individual so that you can better enter into a relationship. We are created to be in relationship first with God and then with the other people around us. And because of this, we have misunderstood this to be, oh, I desire a relationship. It's a relationship with another person. And once I'm in a relationship with another person, I'm going to be fully satisfied. And that's a lie. The only relationship you're going to be satisfied fully in is a relationship with God. And then from there, we can stand firm in who we are, who He created us to be. And then as we enter into relationship, it's a beautiful thing because we don't necessarily need the love and affection from that other person, but it's just kind of like icing on the cake, you know, of like, hey, I know who I am. I am loved. I'm worthy. And your love and your affirmation is just like a bonus. So then you're able to enter love selflessly. You're able to enter it like, hey, I know I'm not perfect. I know we're gonna fail each other, but like, let's do life together and let's do this thing together. That's all I have for you this week. No, you can't find me on Tinder. You can't find me on Christian Mingle. You can't find me on Match.com. Any of those, Bumble, whatever it is. I just don't go on there. So don't try and find me. Weekend, there's actually going to be a song release in the next couple weeks, and I'm super excited about that. We're in the process of recording it right now, and then we're gonna shoot a video for it so you guys can have some content to watch on the channel. It's not just gonna be a song. So stay tuned for that, and yeah, I'll see you next week.